So sorry about having no segment yesterday. I was super busy with a huge video game convention here in the local area of Montreal, and it just ate up every moment of my time. But I'm back now, and looks like we got some cool images that came out of Wonderfest 2019 in Japan. And there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of meat on the bone here to talk about, but I think the one I want to talk about the most at this moment is the Generation Selects King Poseidon, a.k.a. the Seacons, a.k.a. Piranacon, however you want to call it. God Neptune for the Japanese Beast Wars 2nd version. This guy looks pretty crazy. A lot of the comments that I've been seeing online, because people were sending this to me wanting to know, like, hey, what do you think of this craziness? And people were going like, oh, it's so messy. It's so, like all over the place. I mean, to be fair, the original the original Piranacons and King Poseidon, or whatever you want to call them, was a pretty messy design to begin with. I mean, when you have all those tentacles or all the little fins and stuff going all over the place, and not to mention he was one of he actually was not, I don't want to say he was one of the first, he was the only Scramble City design that actually kind of had a 6th member, and the fact that one of them could turn into a gun. We're talking like the original here. And it had like, these stands for it too, so you could have it displayed in that way. I mean, there was a lot of weird design cues that existed probably in the engineering and concepting of this original toy. And obviously when you take some pre-existing Combiner Wars molds and try to really engineer all those ideas and stuff into those pre-existing skeletons, and I mean, which a lot of them consist of obviously, Abominus pieces here and everything, you get a pretty crazy design. I know that looking at this now, because it's a prototype with all the grays, like I said, all the, with gray prototypes and resin prototypes, all the details really pop out at you, and they become a lot more pronounced than what the final product will be. And keep in mind just how pink and blue and salmon colored the actual final product is going to look like, and how a lot of those details, unfortunately, are probably going to be very washed out by those 3 colors. So it's something that it might look a little messy right now, but I'm pretty sure when all those colors are put on it, it's going to probably wash out a lot of that, I guess, wildness that we're seeing here. And in the end, we'll have what will be a more uniform and hopefully very nice looking Combiner team. I mean, I'm just happy that it's even happening. Practically everyone else of those Scramble City lineage, and even some of the non-Scramble City lineage and that of Devastator and Predaking, have had their Combiner War shots. So it's really nice to at least get this like final member being done, and then after that's done, then they can look forward to some of even the more wackier stuff if they ever dare say want to revisit Lio Kaiser and do it properly, or do a 3 combiner in that of Road Caesar or something of that manner. Even look at Landcross, some of the Victory guys. Maybe do some weird, take those old molds again and do some weird Operation Combination, homages. Maybe Guard City, Battle Gaia. There's so much that still could be done here. But at least it's nice that they made a huge effort to retool like crazy, remold like crazy, repaint like crazy, to get one of the final combiner teams of the original, 84 to 87 era that we grew up with of Transformers. And I mean, this also doubles as a Master Force toy. It doubles as a Master Force toy for the Japanese audience. And then maybe one day they could just straight up repaint all of this and we'll get a Beast Wars 2nd, Beast Wars 2, kind of God Neptune thing going on here. We'll get Turtler, looking all badass and everything. I mean, again, I like this. I like this because it exists, and it's something that I can't really imagine how else people would have want this approached. I mean, they could have really made the molds from scratch, but I think they would have more or less looked the same considering the confines of what they probably had to work with. So I like this a lot. I think it looks great. The fact that it still does the 6th member Target Master kind of gimmick is appreciated. They could have totally just ignored that and just had that you'd always have one member just chilling on the side. So it's kind of cool that they still kept that in. It has his big sword, it has Turtler with his shell turning into chest, chest armor kind of thing. I mean, the head sculpt looks really good. I have no complaints here. And again, as someone who owns the original mold, who owns the God Neptune mold, it's always been a very wacky and crazy kind of design. But that's always kind of been saved by its very uniform color scheme, which has always been very absent from other Scramble City combiners. For every Devastator that had like a very uniform Constructicon color scheme, you had a Defensor that had each member had his own kind of color scheme and made the final robot have its own kind of individual limb color scheme. Same thing with the Stunticon, same thing with the aerial bots, same thing with, Bruticus. Then you jump to non-Scramble City combiners like Predaking, and once again, you get a uniform kind of color scheme. So it seems that it really is the only Scramble City combiner that really had a very uniform color scheme that made the final product really match with itself. And so I think that it'll work out good. I think it'll work out really good. Gives Hasbro an excuse to really refresh all those trademarks that have been sitting for a while now. I mean, when I look back, like Big Bad Toy Store and even before that, the Transformer Collector Club were really the last time those names were pulled up. The only other one I could think of is like Creo or something. And again, that's what Creo was for, was really to keep all those names safe. So this is cool. This is really cool. It's definitely gonna be something I'm gonna pick up for sure, because it'll complete my set of modern combiners. And hopefully they'll tackle more of this more. And I'm going to talk more about the Wonderfest stuff later this week for sure, because there's a lot here to talk about, a lot of cool stuff, especially from the Japanese side of Transformers lore.